Hello everybody and welcome to this video. It's the continuation in our series on A-Level English Literature. As always, everything you see in this video comes from Mr. Bruff's Guide to A-Level English Literature, which is available for just £4.99 at mrbruff.com or on Amazon. The book was written by Kerry Lewis, aka Mrs. Spag, who also wrote the best-selling grammar guide, and you really should pick up a copy. So we're still in Assessment Objective 1 for the A-Level English Literature, and we've spent quite a few weeks looking at structure, and I want to move away from that now. But what I will say is that in the ebook there's a whole massive section on the structural features of feet, iambs, trochees, spondees, anapaests, dactyls, all that kind of thing. But you need to download the book to have a look at all of that, because it's very visual and it's all laid out beautifully in the book. So I'm going to let you pick up the guide and work your way through a number of pages on that. But what I'm going to look at today is an example analysis of structure, because as with all of these things we're doing in these videos, it's not about identifying these things. It's not about being able to say, oh, that's anapaestic tetrameter, or there's a metaphor, or that's that comes at the climax of the novel. You've got to take it one stage further than that, and what you've got to think about is, why are those devices used? And when you're analysing structure, you're probably going to blend language analysis into your work as well, because meter deliberately emphasises particular words. So I'm going to show you a little bit of analysis, just a snippet of the sort of A-level standard analysis that you guys can aim for. So here is a little bit of the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. So to put the analysis in context, up until this point in the poem, Coleridge has conformed to the structural conventions of ballads. He's employed quatrains with either ABCB or ABAB rhyme schemes, and although there are exceptions, the first and third lines are in iambic tetrameter, while the second and fourth lines are in trimeter. If you don't know what those are, have a look at the last video in this playlist. So here's the stanza we're going to look at for the analysis. With sloping masts and dipping prow, as who pursued with yell and blow, still treads the shadow of his foe, and forward bends his head. The ship drove fast, loud roared the blast, and southward aye we fled. Now, what you'll see on the screen is that any terminology and analysis that links to structure is highlighted in red, just to help you to see how to build that in. So let's have a look at, I've got these two the wrong way round, starts here. Coleridge's readers, who are used to the traditional quatrains of ballads, might be surprised and shocked to encounter a sestet. Its length and use of enjambment invoke a feeling of never-ending horror for the terrified sailors who are recklessly pursued by the storm. A feeling of panic and chaos is developed through the fast pace of the iambic tetrameter in the first three lines. The stresses on sloping, masts, dipping, prow emphasize the idea that the ship will go down and all hands will be lost. The stresses on the onomatopoeic nouns yell and blow also emphasize the violence of the storm. Moreover, the stress on foe underpins the storm's malicious intent. Therefore, the regular meter of iambic tetrameter creates a mood of relentless determination of the storm to catch the sailors. This mood changes in the fourth line with the switch to iambic trimeter, and forwards bend his head. Sorry about my poor reading there. There is now a changing tone, as the personified ship demonstrates a newfound determination to outrun the storm. Then the meter changes again. The ship drove fast, loud roared the blast. The spondee, with loud roared, emphasizes the rage of the storm as the ship escapes. The onomatopoeic roared also connotes the idea of a predator losing its prey. With the return to regular iambic trimeter in the final line of the stanza, and southward aye we fled, the stress on the positive I marks a feeling of relief. The last word of the stanza is fled, which also emphasizes safety. It is no coincidence that the stanza that follows returns to the reassuring and familiar form of a quatrain. Now, I'm sure you're looking at that and thinking, that's, way beyond where I am. And obviously you would not analyse a complete poem in that sort of detail. But in order to focus your thoughts, you should carefully read the set question, you should make a careful note of the key words, and then write about the parts of the poem that are the most relevant to the question. So that's an example of how to blend references to metre into your writing, as well as how to quote a line and analyse variations in metre. And it's worth repeating that you should focus on the impact of the words that the metre emphasises. Remember that idea that poetry is to be read, and when you read it out loud, you can think about the effect that the stressing has on how you're reading it. You can think about how it sounds when you read the poem in the metre in which it's written. And of course, always looking for where does it change and shift as well. So please do pick up the revision guide and subscribe to this channel.